Should you be talking about deck power levels and how often you want to win before every game of Commander? Is it important to know if you're bringing a knife to a gunfight or a gun to a knife fight every time you sit down at the table? Time to talk about the Commander format's Rule 0 in review. Before we jump in, a quick reminder to like and subscribe to the channel. It goes a long way to me being able to make better and more stable content, and I very much appreciate it. So what is Rule 0? In the simplest terms, Rule 0 is getting everybody on the same page of competitiveness before starting to play the game. The intent is to make sure everyone is having a good time. As the first sentence of the official philosophy for Commander states, Commander is for fun. This means, aside from a handful of banned cards and a framework that provides structure for how to play, players can play essentially how they want. So everyone agreeing to play by the same rules beforehand helps everyone have a better time. Beyond that, there are several interpretations of how a Rule 0 conversation should go, from streamlining with deck power levels and explaining exactly what your deck is or what its purpose is. Talking about whether you have a very competitive deck or a very casual one are good examples. What kind of budget did you work with to build your deck? An expensive deck worth thousands may likely have big advantages over a deck that cost less than $100. Does your deck work off of specific combos or mechanics? Are you trying to pull those mechanics soon? Do you have tutors to do that? Is there a specific turn that you like to win by? Are there any interactions that you don't have at the table? It's also a good time to ask about mulligan rolls or if the use of proxies is okay. But that's another show. Rule 0 conversations tend to vary and can be ever evolving, especially if you play with a consistent playgroup. My friends and I are all former players that recently got back into the game, and our Rule 0 has evolved significantly as we've learned more about mechanics that we missed out while we weren't playing. We've never used power levels to distinguish how strong our decks are, and to be honest, I think it's kind of arbitrary. The decision of what your power level is kind of up for debate, and kind of feels like Dragon Ball Z. It doesn't really matter. I don't think it adds anything to the conversation, but it might streamline some things for you if everyone's on the same page. Now, as an example, here's the baseline rules that my group uses, so whenever we're building our decks, we all kind of have similar ideas before going in. No counterspell interactions. No land removal, including if a creature or ability would require a player to sacrifice a permanent, lands are not considered valid. Any creature that naturally have protections from specific colors, however artifacts, enchants, and abilities that grant protections are okay. Anything that causes an opponent to mill or discard. Anything that makes your creatures unblockable. And lastly, while it isn't an official rule, we typically try and use more budget-friendly cards and really only spring for big cards if it's a commander that we really want to build. There will be expensive cards here and there, but for the most part, our decks won't cost a fortune to build. Overall, at the end of the day, how you play Commander is up to you. But what's important is remembering that everyone at the table wants to have a good time. Rule 0 conversations don't have to be elaborate affairs, and can make playing the game much more enjoyable for everyone involved. Communication is key to having a healthy gameplay environment, so I strongly recommend having a good conversation with everyone before you start playing. So, are there any rules that you guys have at your tables? Let me know in the comments below, and as always, thank you for watching.